Many people lose their peace not because life is too hard, but because they give too much of their mind to the wrong conversations. One message can disturb a whole morning. One rude comment can sit inside the heart for hours. One foolish argument can take away the energy that was meant for work, learning, family, health, and prayer. And the painful part is this: most of the time, the argument does not change anything. The other person does not become wiser. The problem does not become smaller. The day does not become better. Only your mind becomes heavier. There are people who do not enter a conversation to understand. They enter only to win. They do not listen with an open heart. They listen while preparing their next attack. They do not ask questions because they want truth. They ask questions because they want to trap you. And if you are not careful, you may spend your whole life explaining yourself to people who already decided not to understand you. This is why the lesson matters. Never waste your peace on foolish arguments. This does not mean you should be weak. This does not mean you should allow disrespect. This does not mean you should never speak. It means you must learn the difference between a useful conversation and an empty fight. A useful conversation can teach you something. An empty fight only takes something from you. It takes your time. It takes your focus. It takes your calm. Sometimes it even takes your character. Because when you argue with someone who has no respect, you may slowly begin to speak like them. You may become louder than you want to be. You may say words you later regret. You may lose the calm version of yourself just to win a small moment. But peace is not a small thing. Peace is the ground under your life. When your mind is peaceful, you can think clearly. You can learn better. You can work with more focus. You can speak with more kindness. You can make better decisions. But when your mind is full of arguments, everything becomes noisy. Even a quiet room feels loud. Even simple work feels heavy. Even good people around you may receive the tired version of you. One morning, Ethan learned this in a simple but painful way. He woke up early with a plan. He wanted to study English for 30 minutes before work. He had prepared his notebook the night before. He had written 3 simple sentences on the first page. I will protect my morning. I will use my time well. I will not give my mind to useless things. But before he opened the notebook, he checked his phone. There was a message from someone he knew. The message was not important, but it was sharp. It criticized his work. It laughed at his small progress. It said he was trying too hard to look successful. Ethan felt heat in his chest. He told himself, I will just reply once. But 1 reply became 2. 2 replies became 10. 30 minutes passed. Then 1 hour passed. His notebook stayed closed. His coffee became cold. His mind became angry. And when he finally looked at the time, he felt a quiet sadness. The person on the phone had taken nothing physical from him. But somehow Ethan had lost the best part of his morning. That was the first consequence. Not a big disaster. Not a dramatic moment. Just one wasted morning. But sometimes one wasted morning shows us a deeper pattern. Ethan understood something that day. The real danger was not that someone criticized him. The real danger was that he gave them the power to control his attention. And attention is life. Where your attention goes, your life slowly follows. The message that stole his morning. A foolish argument often begins with a small hook. Someone says something unfair. Someone misunderstands you on purpose. Someone laughs at your effort. Someone speaks with confidence but without wisdom. At first you may feel that you must reply. You may feel that silence will make you look weak. You may think, if I do not answer, they will believe they are right. But here is the part many people miss. Not every wrong opinion needs your correction. Not every rude sentence deserves your energy. Not every person is ready for a real conversation. Some people are not looking for light. They are comfortable in darkness, and they want you to stand there with them. If you bring facts, they will twist them. If you bring calm words, they will test them. If you explain your heart, they will use your honesty against you. This does not mean everyone who disagrees with you is foolish. A person can disagree with you and still be respectful. A person can challenge your idea and still help you grow. A good conversation may feel uncomfortable, but it leaves you wiser. A foolish argument is different. It does not bring truth. It brings noise. It does not bring understanding. It brings ego. It does not make the relationship better. It makes the mind tired. So before you enter any argument, pause and ask one simple question. Will this conversation create clarity, or will it create more confusion? If it creates clarity, speak with respect. If it creates more confusion, protect your peace. This pause is very important. A pause is like a small door between emotion and action. Without a pause, anger walks straight through. With a pause, wisdom gets a chance to speak. Ethan did not pause that morning. He reacted quickly. He replied because his pride felt hurt. But pride is not always a good guide. Pride wants to win now. Wisdom wants to live well. Pride wants the last word. Wisdom wants a clean heart. Pride says, show them. Wisdom says, save yourself. That morning, Ethan listened to pride, and pride gave him a noisy mind. The message was gone from the screen later, but it stayed inside him for the whole day. While he was working, he kept thinking of better replies. While someone spoke to him, his mind went back to the argument. While he ate lunch, he imagined what he should have said. This is one hidden cost of foolish arguments. They continue after they end. The other person may forget the argument, but your mind keeps replaying it. This is why you must become careful about what you allow inside your mind. Your mind is not a public room where every careless person can enter. Your mind is your home. You must protect the door. The hidden cost of proving yourself. Many people argue because they want to prove something. They want to prove they are smart. They want to prove they are right. They want to prove they are not weak. They want to prove they are not afraid. But a peaceful life begins when you stop trying to prove yourself to people who are not interested in truth. There is a quiet strength in saying, I do not need this argument. There is maturity in saying, this conversation is not healthy. There is wisdom in saying, I can leave without hating you. You do not lose value because someone misunderstands you. You do not lose intelligence because someone refuses to listen. You do not lose dignity because someone speaks loudly. Your value does not depend on their opinion. Think of a clean glass of water. If someone throws dust into it, you do not prove that the water was clean by drinking the dust. You protect the glass. You move it away. You keep it clean. Your peace is like that glass of water. Some people bring dust into every conversation. They bring anger, blame, jealousy, sarcasm, and old pain. If you keep standing close, your peace becomes cloudy too. This is why distance can be wisdom. Distance does not always mean hate. Sometimes distance means protection. Sometimes distance means I respect myself enough to step back. Sometimes distance means I am not available for this kind of energy. But many people feel guilty when they step back. They think they must answer every call, explain every choice, and defend every decision. They forget that life is not a courtroom. You are not required to present evidence to everyone who questions your path. Some questions are honest. Answer those. Some questions are attacks. Do not feed those. A person who truly wants to understand will listen when you explain once. A person who only wants to fight will still fight after you explain 100 times. So the problem is not your explanation. The problem is their intention. This is where peace begins. Peace begins when you stop treating every argument like an emergency. Not every situation needs your immediate reaction. Not every opinion needs your emotional investment. Not every person needs full access to your inner world. Ethan began to see this slowly. For many years, he had believed that being quiet meant losing. If someone said something wrong about him, he replied. If someone judged his work, he defended himself. If someone laughed at his goals, he tried to prove them wrong. But after many tired days, he asked himself a painful question. How much of my life have I spent trying to convince people who never wanted to understand me? The answer made him quiet. He remembered evenings when he had planned to read, but instead argued online. He remembered mornings when he had planned to exercise, but instead explained himself to someone negative. He remembered workdays when he carried anger from one foolish conversation into everything else. Then he understood something simple. Every foolish argument had a price. The price was not money. The price was peace. When silence becomes a clean door. Silence is often misunderstood. Some people think silence means fear. Some think silence means you have no answer. Some think silence means you accept disrespect. But silence can also mean control. Silence can mean, I choose my peace. Silence can mean, I will not make this fire bigger. Silence can mean, my words are valuable, and I will not waste them here. There is a silence that is weak, and there is a silence that is wise. Weak silence comes from fear. Wise silence comes from self-control. Weak silence hides from truth. Wise silence refuses to feed foolishness. Weak silence allows harm. Wise silence protects dignity. So do not confuse the two. If someone is harming you, threatening you, or crossing a serious boundary, you may need to speak, leave, ask for help, or take action. Peace does not mean accepting abuse. Calmness does not mean becoming a doormat. But many daily arguments are not serious problems. They are ego traps. Someone wants a reaction. Someone wants attention. Someone wants to pull you out of your focus. Someone wants to make their noise become your noise. In those moments, silence can be a clean door. You close the door, and the noise stays outside. One day, Ethan practiced this. A coworker made a careless comment about him in front of others. It was small, but it was meant to embarrass him. Ethan felt the old heat rise inside his chest. His mind prepared 3 sharp replies. One reply would make people laugh. One reply would make the coworker look foolish. One reply would prove that Ethan could fight back. But before he spoke, he remembered his cold coffee, his closed notebook, in the morning he had lost. He took one breath, then another. He looked at the coworker calmly and said, I understand what you mean. I do not want to turn this into an argument. Then he returned to his work. The room became quiet for a moment. The co-worker had expected anger. He did not know what to do with calmness. And Ethan felt something new. He did not feel weak, he felt free. This is the power of a controlled response. It does not always change the other person, but it changes what happens inside you. You keep your center. You keep your peace. You keep your day. A foolish argument is like a rope thrown at your feet. You do not have to pick it up. If you pick it up, the pulling begins. If you leave it there, the other person has nothing to pull. This is a simple lesson, but it is not easy. The ego enjoys picking up the rope. The ego wants to pull back. The ego wants to win. But peace grows when you stop touching every rope thrown in front of you. Before we move to the next lesson, think about this. How many arguments in your life became bigger only because you gave them more words? Sometimes the fire did not need more explanation. It needed no more wood. A boundary does not need anger. Many people think boundaries must be loud. They think they must shout to be strong. They think they must become rude to stop rudeness. But a real boundary can be calm. A boundary is not a performance. It is a decision. It says, this is what I allow. It says, this is what I do not allow. It says, I can respect you, but I will not lose myself for you. You can set a boundary with a calm voice. You can say, please speak to me respectfully. You can say, I am willing to talk, but I am not willing to argue. You can say, let us continue this conversation when we are both calm. You can say, I have explained my point. I will not repeat it again. You can say, this conversation is not helping either of us, so I am going to stop here. These sentences are simple, but they carry strength. They do not attack. They do not beg. They do not create drama. They protect peace. A boundary is like a fence around a small garden. The fence does not hate the outside world. It simply protects what is growing inside. Your mind is a garden. Your focus is growing there. Your confidence is growing there. Your discipline is growing there. Your English, your work, your dreams, your health, your future, all of these need space to grow. If you allow every negative person to walk through that garden, they may step on the small plants before they become strong, so you need a fence. Not a wall of hate, a fence of wisdom. Ethan started setting small boundaries in ordinary ways. He stopped replying to messages late at night when he was tired. He stopped explaining his dreams to people who always laughed at dreams. He stopped joining conversations that always ended in blame. He stopped checking comments before his morning study. At first it felt strange. His hand still wanted to reach for the phone. His mind still wanted to defend itself. His pride still whispered, just answer one more time. But he kept practicing. He learned that peace is not found once. Peace is practiced daily. Every time he did not reply to a useless message, peace became stronger. Every time he paused before speaking, self-control became stronger. Every time he chose his notebook over an argument, his future became stronger. This is how a person changes. Not through one big speech, not through one perfect decision, but through small, repeated choices. One quiet choice in the morning. One calm breath during a difficult conversation. One boundary when someone tries to pull you into drama. One decision to use your energy for something better. A peaceful person is not someone who never feels anger. A peaceful person is someone who does not let anger become the driver of the whole day. Give your energy back to your own life. Your energy is limited. This is a truth many people ignore. You do not have unlimited focus. You do not have unlimited patience. You do not have unlimited emotional strength. Every day, your mind has a certain amount of power. You can spend it on growth, or you can spend it on noise. You can spend it learning a language. You can spend it building a skill. You can spend it improving your health. You can spend it caring for your family. You can spend it planning your future. Or you can spend it answering people who only want to disturb you. The choice may look small, but the result becomes large. A life is not built only by big decisions. A life is built by repeated attention. If your attention goes to arguments every day, your life becomes full of arguments. If your attention goes to learning every day, your life slowly becomes wiser. If your attention goes to discipline every day, your future slowly becomes stronger. If your attention goes to peace every day, your heart slowly becomes lighter. This is where many people lose the battle. They say they want a better life, but they give their best energy to the worst conversations. They wake up and check negative messages. They work while thinking about insults. They go to sleep replaying arguments. Then they wonder why they feel tired. But the mind cannot carry stones all day and still feel light. Every foolish argument is like a stone in the pocket. One stone may not feel heavy, but many stones become a burden. At some point, you must stop collecting them. You must ask, do I want to carry this? Most of the time, the answer is no. You do not need to carry every opinion. You do not need to carry every insult. You do not need to carry every misunderstanding. You do not need to carry every person's emotional mess. Put it down. Give your energy back to your own life. This is not selfish. This is responsible. When your mind is peaceful, you become better for the people who truly matter. You listen better. You work better. You learn better. You speak better. You make fewer mistakes. You bring less anger into your home. You become a safer person to be around. Peace is not only for you. Your peace affects everyone near you. A calm parent changes the feeling of a home. A calm worker changes the feeling of a team. A calm friend becomes a place of rest. A calm person carries quiet strength into noisy rooms. But you cannot become that person if you give your mind away every day. Ethan noticed this after a few weeks. His mornings became different. He studied English for 30 minutes again. He wrote simple sentences in his notebook. He listened to calm audio while walking to work. He stopped checking his phone before his first good habit. His life did not become perfect. People still said careless things. Messages still arrived. Arguments still waited for him. But he was changing. The same hook did not catch him so easily. The same words did not control him for so long. The same noise did not enter his heart as deeply. This is the emotional payoff of peace. At first, nothing outside changes. Then something inside changes. And when something inside changes, the outside world loses some of its power over you. The day he chose not to reply. One evening, Ethan came home tired. It had been a long day. His body wanted rest, and his mind wanted quiet. He placed his bag near the chair, washed his face, and sat at the small table by the window. His notebook was there, the same notebook he had ignored on the morning of the argument. But this time, many pages were full. Small sentences, new words, short reflections, simple plans. He looked at the pages and felt quiet pride, not loud pride, not pride that wanted attention, just a warm feeling that said, I am keeping a promise to myself. Then his phone lit up. Another message. Another careless sentence. Another invitation to argue. For a moment, the old feeling returned. His fingers moved toward the phone. His mind began to prepare a reply. But then he stopped. He looked at the notebook. He looked at the open page. At the top, he had written one sentence that morning. My peace is part of my progress. He read it twice. Then he turned the phone face down. He did not reply. He opened the notebook and wrote 5 new English sentences instead. I do not need to answer every argument. I can be calm and still be strong. My time is valuable. My mind needs peace. I choose growth today. The room was quiet. Nothing dramatic happened. No one clapped. No one praised him. No one knew that he had won a small private victory. But Ethan knew. He had not defeated another person. He had defeated an old pattern inside himself. And sometimes that is the greater victory. Because the hardest arguments are not always with other people. Sometimes the hardest argument is inside your own mind. One voice says, reply. Another voice says, rest. One voice says, prove yourself. Another voice says, protect yourself. One voice says, win this argument. Another voice says, win your peace. The voice you follow becomes the life you build. That evening, Ethan followed peace. And peace gave him something arguments never gave him. A clear mind, a quiet heart, a completed page, a better night of sleep. This is what foolish arguments cannot give you. They cannot give you real growth. They cannot give you deep confidence. They cannot give you a clean heart. They cannot give you time back. But peace can give you space, space to think, space to learn, space to heal, space to become stronger. The quiet victory. Never waste your peace on foolish arguments. Remember, this lesson is not about being silent forever. It is about choosing your words wisely. Speak when the conversation is honest. Speak when a boundary is needed. Speak when truth can help. Speak when silence would allow real harm. But do not speak only because your ego is hurt. Do not reply only because someone is trying to pull you down. Do not argue only because you want the last word. The last word is not always victory. Sometimes the real victory is the first moment you choose not to enter the fight. A peaceful person still has opinions. A peaceful person still has strength. A peaceful person still has limits. But a peaceful person does not give every foolish voice the power to control the day. So the next time someone invites you into a useless argument, pause, take one slow breath. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Ask yourself, will this help my life? Ask yourself, is this person ready to understand or only ready to fight? Then choose wisely. Maybe you will speak calmly. Maybe you will set a boundary. Maybe you will leave the conversation. Maybe you will stay silent and continue your work. But whatever you choose, do not lose yourself. Your peace is too valuable. Your time is too limited. Your mind is too important. Your future is too precious. There will always be people who misunderstand you. There will always be people who judge your path. There will always be people who speak without thinking. There will always be people who enjoy noise more than truth. Let them be who they are. You must become who you are meant to be. Become calmer. Become wiser. Become stronger. Become more focused. Become harder to disturb. Build a life that does not depend on winning small arguments. Build a mind that does not shake every time someone speaks foolishly. Build a heart that knows when to speak and when to rest. Because in the end, You will not remember every argument you could have won, but you will feel the life you built with the energy you saved. And that is the quiet lesson. Do not spend your best peace on the worst conversations. Use your peace to learn. Use your peace to grow. Use your peace to work. Use your peace to love the right people better. Use your peace to become the person you respect when you are alone. A foolish argument may give you a moment of satisfaction, but a peaceful mind can give you a better life. So protect it, choose it, practice it. And when the noise becomes loud, remember this final line. The strongest person is not the one who wins every argument, but the one who protects peace and keeps walking toward a better life.